Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I am joined by Rich Howard for a game of The Bite by Dan Enders. Rich is a writer of RPG and board game content, host of Whelmed, the Young Justice Files, which is a rewatch podcast of the recently renewed DC animated series, and just the nicest guy on the face of the earth. Which makes it really funny that we played The Bite, because The Bite is a game about your feelings towards violence when put into the most desperate situation. We play two people trapped in a room together in a zombie apocalypse. One of us may or may not have been bitten. There is a gun in the middle of the room with a single bullet. We have to decide, will we use it? And if so, who we will use it on. A quick content warning, this game is heavy. There is some talk of self-harm, and there is some talk of harming one another. Just be warned, it's a hard episode. And before we dive in, I have some Patreon people to thank. Thank you so much to Kevin Gallagher from Everything is Awesome, Taylor Labresh from Riverhouse Games, Darcy Ross from Cypher Speak and Gnome Stew, Specs AK, and creator of The Bite, Dan Enders. You're all amazing, and I love you, and thank you so much. I am eternally grateful. And with all that said, let's throw it over to me in the past so he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. This week I am joined by Rich Howard. Rich, thank you for coming on Party of One.
Oh, man. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on the show. This is going to be a lot of fun. So,
Thanks,
up top, why don't you talk a little bit about anything you're going on that you might want people to know about, any projects you're working on, any big podcasts you might be releasing in the next few weeks that might be coming up that are very exciting, that sort of thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't podcast.
Oh, well, okay, moving on.
Except for the part where I do. Yes, some of your listeners may be familiar with the Caleb G from the RPG Academy Podcasts Network. He and I have started a new podcast. It actually airs, as of this recording, it airs this coming Friday with our episode 0. It is called Whelmed, the Young Justice Files. It is a series that is meant to break down and analyze the fantastic DC animated universe series Young Justice. We'll also be exploring storytelling in general, developing ensemble cast characters for role-playing games, novel writing, etc. We'll be talking about the series and how it relates to DC Comics, the history of these characters, the history of the team as a team from Teen Titans through to this modern incarnation. We're also going to be pointing out a ton of spoilers, a ton of Easter eggs, things like that you would not have noticed if you hadn't watched it an absurd and embarrassing number of times like I have, so people can see the many, many layers that the creators of this show put into it. It's fantastic. I'm hoping that it will be broad enough that people will hopefully get excited and go watch Young Justice on Netflix, but also that it'll appeal to those people who are gamers and writers who want to learn about storytelling and kind of how to do this in a broader sense.
I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for Whelmed. I think it sounds great. I am a huge Young Justice fan. I am really excited to hear more about it. I cannot wait for that episode to drop. Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm so
glad. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
I also do some. Third-party publishing stuff for 5th edition, mostly 5th edition. I've done some Pathfinder work as well. I am a periodic columnist on a website called Tribality.com. I have a Patreon. I have an new RPG system I'm working on currently that
that's exciting.
I'm hoping to get out to get play tested a bit, which may need to be, I don't know, if anybody, you know anybody with a podcast that might want to play a game?
I know a few people.
Maybe, because I might want to be getting that happening soon too. So a few things on the burner.
Excellent. All right, here we go. So this week we are playing The Bite by Dan Enders. It is. I'm a little terrified, but I'm also excited.
I'm shaking my head. I'm blaming Dan already. I would like to point out that when Dan posted this, he said it was on Twitter, and he said, I created a game. I'm never going to play it. It terrifies me. And immediately Jeff and I were like, we need to play this game.
Yeah, it's like, let's play this game together. This is going to be great. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, The Bite is a game for 2 people. It is a game inspired by zombie movies. It also really evokes, if you've ever seen the movie The Thing, which is one of my favorite movies, it sort of evokes
The Thing.
The last scene in The Thing, which is, I think, one of the greatest moments in cinema. It's real tragic and scary, and I'm real nervous, and it's gonna be fun. So, and the other half, so why don't we talk up before we deal out the cards and start the game? First thing I want to say is, as we always do on Party of One, we're using cut and break as a safety mechanism, because we're probably going to need it. Basically, if at any point you feel like you want to slow things down and take a breather, just say break. We'll pump the brakes. If at any point you want to take a hard stop and you need to breathe or talk about anything, or just, it gets too real, say cut. We'll stop the scene. We'll take a pause.
Sounds good.
Sound good? So, character-wise, we had talked about this, and we are playing ourselves, which I think is exciting and really terrifying. But
yeah,
so the premise of The Bite is a zombie event happens. It is a zombie event happens, we are on the run, we have found ourselves trapped in a room. It is just the 2 of us. One of us may or may not have been bitten. And there is a gun with, I believe, a single bullet?
I would imagine.
So there's a gun with a single bullet in the middle of the room. And we are sitting there, the only thing that we have is our conversations and this gun. And we have to figure out if one of us has been bitten, and if so, if we are comfortable doing what has to be done to survive, or, pulling the trigger on ourselves. Now, so...
No pressure.
No pressure. So I am going to deal out... The way this works is we each get 4 cards from a deck of 9 cards. And these cards have conversation topics on them. And to set the scene as I deal out our cards, this is a place where we are together. This is a place where we are in the same place at the same time, which for you and I, Rich, means it's probably, I'm going to say, Gen Con 2017.
Yeah, let's do that. Sorry, Gen Con 2017. There was already an apocalyptic combat in 2016, I think, thanks to, She's a Super Geek, I think. It's just a bad place. Don't go there. Nobody go there. Death and Carnage. Yeah, don't go to Gen Con. Just don't. It seems like consistently, it seems pretty consistent in the last few years. It's really fallen off since probably 2016. I hear 2015 was fine. When that volcano showed up, there was a volcano that showed up or something.
Yeah,
blame Jim McClure.
A lot of people died. The golden microphone was compromised. It was a rough time. Doesn't sound like 2017 is any better. So maybe just skip Gen Con this year.
Can I set the scene for the room we're in a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's now a requirement that Quinn Wilson from Swallows of the South, his dead body is in this room somewhere.
I think that's fair.
That's fair. Sorry, Quinn.
Okay. So, the 2 of us are in a room. Quinn Wilson's body is lying in the center of the room. The door is jammed with one of these big convention tables. There is audio-visual equipment smashed everywhere. I'm shaking. I assume you are shaking because I know I'm already shaking. And now we begin the game. So one of us, if you have a conversation that you would like to lay down and start the conversation with, or I can, I'll start.
How long do we think that this has been going on for? Was this immediate?
Actually, that's going to be the first question I'm going to ask.
Okay.
We're settling in, and so how long have you been running? And how many people have you lost? So how long has this been going on? When did this start? How long have we been scrambling?
Well, I landed on Wednesday afternoon, and Thursday afternoon, people started getting sick, and I just thought it was an early con crud.
Yeah, I figured that was just what happens at cons. I had never been to Gen Con, so I kind of assumed that many people just get sick.
Well, people get sick, but they usually don't get sick till after they get home.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's that time of year. I just figured.
Yeah, I was on Thursday night. I was on the phone with my family, and I was talking to my daughter. She's 3. And my wife, my son was already in bed. And my wife said she heard something outside. And then the connection went down. So
Jen was IMing me about wrestling. She was watching some DDT show, some Japanese show. And was just IMing me about all the crazy stuff that was happening, and then it just went out.
it could have been a coincidence, but
That's what I figured. It was just, you know, con Wi-Fi's not good. But
just wonder how long somebody must have flown here from somewhere, but how did they get people had changed so fast? It's only been a couple of days.
I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. Like, everything was fine. Thursday people got sick. By Friday afternoon it was chaos, and now here we are. Like, I don't understand how in 24 hours it goes from sniffles to I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
When did you realize, like, hold on. Did you see somebody die?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I didn't know him, but I mean, I was eating. I eat alone at cons. I don't. It's ironic. I like cons, but I don't like being around people all the time. Like, so I tend to eat by myself in the dining areas, and there was something happened and people got hurt, and like, I didn't think at the time that they were dead, but they were dead. I just was so focused on running and getting out of there that I just assumed that they all got out of there, but that's naive, I think. I think that's childish to think that they got out.
What did you see?
People.
Like, what happened?
People ran in to the dining area where I was at and just started mobbing, like, rushing people. I was way back in the corner, so I was able to sort of duck out of one of the fire escape exits. But they ran into the main entrance and just started tackling people and biting and scratching, and you know, you see people looking like zombies running into a room at a con, and you think, like, oh, they're doing a stupid thing, and I remember thinking, like, that's really stupid. I remember thinking that's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That, like, oh, they're doing like a zombie LARP thing, and it's dumb that they're kind of being reckless, and then they tackled people, and
then they were actually getting hurt.
Yeah, and that's when I left, and so, I mean, I know that they died. Like, I know that they died, because here we are now, but at the time I was like, that's I don't know. It's supposed to be a thing where it's all like games and fun and friends, and you don't expect it.
Did you know the person that died?
I might have. Like, I didn't know their name. But like, I very well might have known them, and that's kind of that kind of sucks, you know? Like, I've been doing this thing for a year now, like, and it's not big, but it's not small, like, and so they may have been somebody that I've spoken to on Twitter or something, like,
yeah.
That sucks. Like, the idea that somebody that I might have, like, connected with somebody and never really known them and then watched them get hurt and killed really
And you ran?
kind of makes you just regret doing this.
Regret doing what?
The podcast and the convention and the whole... Like, in the face of all of this, it just feels like it was an opportunity to get hurt and to expose myself to being hurt. And that fucking sucks, man. Like, it really sucks.
I don't think this is the only place, Jeff.
I know. I know.
It may have just been a coincidence, but I am more and more of the last 2 days convinced that whatever noise my wife heard outside.
Yeah. I could be nice and comfort you, right? But yeah, probably.
My son was asleep, you know? So maybe my daughter was... I just, you talk about regret. Doing this thing, being here instead of there.
I feel you. Trust me, I feel you. What was your family like when it was better?
I don't even know if I can talk about it.
I can change the subject if you want. Or you can if you want. I figured if we'd wanted to talk about something nicer, but I get it. That was weird. That was a bad timing. I'm sorry.
No.
Not good at...
No, it's just a lot of people don't... A lot of people don't know my family. I mean, I don't talk about them a lot on social media, you know. My wife is... my wife's amazing. She's a teacher, and she's brilliant with the kids, changing lives. My daughter is, was.
Jen's pretty amazing, too.
Was. She's,
Is. Let's say is. I'm gonna say is.
She's funny.
I don't know.
And she's bright, and she's tenacious, and she's kind, and seeing her with her little brother, and helping him, and taking care of him, and loving on him, and seeing him... He used to wake up in the morning, and instead of asking for me or my wife, he would ask for his sister instead, even when he was just one years old, standing up. One of the first words he knew was her name, and he'd call her. And I always told her, there were times she would go to bed at night, or we would go somewhere or do something, and she would just say, "Papa, I need an adult with me." She's very responsible. I need an adult with me, and I told her that I would always be there, and that there is nothing would stop me from protecting her, and something did. And it was my choice. You talked about you mentioned somebody I hadn't heard you mention before on the show. Who's that? You have family as well?
Yeah, Jen, my wife, she's a producer, editor on the show, and now she's out there. I assume, I hope. I'm choosing to believe she's okay, but I can't know that, but, you know.
Is your arm okay? You look like you're bleeding.
It's fine. It's fine.
You know, I'm a nurse. I can take a look.
You can take a look if you want.
I lean forward.
Yeah, go ahead. It's fine. Like, it's...
It just looks like scratches.
Yeah,
and
it's
pretty deep scratches.
Part of, like, cat ownership is that I've kind of always got scratches, and I don't actually really have any... Like, just the other day before I came over, I just was looking at my arm when we were out to lunch, and there was just a gash. Like, there was just a bloody gash on my arm, and I'm like, Cleo, what the hell did you do? And I couldn't remember her scratching me, but I knew she had because I love her. I love her to death, but my cat is an asshole, and I hate her. And I think that's part of cat ownership.
Man, I was a veterinary nurse for 10 years before I became a human nurse, buddy, and I appreciate the story, but this looks like you were gashed on like a fence or something.
I mean, yeah.
Did you?
I was running from the dining area. Like, I had to knock over a few things. I knocked over a vendor table, and I got caught by a game of Marvel Legendary. Big game. Real big. You don't realize how big it is until it's coming at your arm. But,
You know, I didn't think about how absurd this whole situation was until you talked about the cosplaying zombies. This is... So many people must have been caught off guard.
Like, it'd be funny if it wasn't miserable.
Yeah. Did you,
Let me ask you. You said where were you when this all went down? Like, what were you doing? Were you in a game or a panel? Like, who were you with?
I look over at Quinn, and I look back up at you. I was right here. I've ended up coming full circle. I think I thought that once the Horde moved through, that maybe they wouldn't come back. Quinn, this was his first Gen Con, I think.
I think it was. I don't think he made it.
And I was running... I run a game every year for podcasters, and wait, I was supposed to run for you today.
I mean, there's still time, right? Like, we can run reflections or something, you know? That's probably a little morbid, what with the whole dying thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a romance.
Edge of the Empire game I run for podcasters, and Quinn was in it, and we had found this room, which was mostly empty. Set up tables. Troy Pitchelman was in it too, and I don't know what happened to Troy, but someone came in. We thought it might be somebody looking for a place to play, or maybe security or something coming around just checking the empty rooms, and whoever it was came around the corner while we were playing, and Quinn's back was to him, and I tried to get him off of Quinn, and I just couldn't. He just threw me through a wall.
Yeah, they're real strong.
And I got up and started running.
Don't expect that.
You know, I've spent my whole life in the medical industry. All I've ever done my whole life is tried to help and heal people and animals, and there was just something so primal about what was happening. It just triggered something in me. I couldn't stop running. Sorry, Quinn.
Yeah, I'm sorry, too.
I noticed that when I was talking to some people, I came up to a small group of people. I think most of them weren't infected. But as we were talking, as we were huddled, I thought he was making a bad joke. He just turned to the person next to him and tore into them. And we started to run. They looked so normal right up to that point. And one of the other people in the group, a really big guy, took a chair and hammered that person over the head with it. And the thing is, now I don't know who's who anymore. I mean, have you run into that? Can you tell them apart? Have you hurt someone and not been sure?
I definitely have hurt people. I don't think I've killed anyone. At least that's what I'm telling myself, because I have to tell myself that, but I've definitely seen people acting strangely and knocked them aside, hit them with things, boards, display cases, that sort of thing. But the answer is probably. I don't have a real answer for that other than probably. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I was gonna do it, and I can't do it. I was going to. No, I was gonna do it because I can't. Fuck. I can't grill someone about if they've been turned. I can't do this. I was gonna grill you about, if you were bitten and, what happened. I can't. I'm not that person. I can't do that. So I'm gonna take the gun because I can't.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You may have been bitten, you may not have been bitten, but, if you've been bitten, then I can't stop you. I can't kill you. So, I take the gun. I take the bullet out of it. And I throw the gun away. And I toss the bullet over my shoulder. If you've been bitten, kill me, because I can't do it.
Oh man. So
the gun's empty, I threw the bullet over my shoulder.
So the gun's empty and you threw the bullet?
I'm destroying the gun. As I was not, in fact, bitten.
Oh my god. I was not bitten either, and I was going to shoot you, Jeff. You beat me to the gun. I'm sorry, Jeff. I was going to ask you if you really thought that my family was still alive, and if you really thought that all I could think of, oh my God, Dan, I love and hate you so badly right now.
Yo, Dan, you're a bastard.
You're a freaking monster. All I could think of was my daughter and her maybe still being alive, and all I could think of was I don't want to shoot Jeff, and I've just had the gun. I'm like, but I can't take the chance that he's going to kill me either. And what are the odds that the bite isn't in this deck? And oh my God, I feel like a horrible, horrible human being.
No, I get it. No,
when you took the gun and you destroyed it, I was like, oh God, he really is bitten. He's going to kill me.
No, I really wanted to shoot you real bad because I knew I wasn't bitten. I wanted to do it, but I knew that we were both down to one card, and I was like, we're running out of time. If he's bitten, then this is it. And I couldn't.
I was totally convinced. I was so convinced that you were bitten that I threw in the bit about the scratch marks on your arm. Oh man, Jeff, I'm like, these are the only choices I have. I have terrible choices. None of these are good choices.
That game is a nightmare, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. So the three options are kill your companion, kill yourself, or destroy the gun. And I was so convinced that you were bitten that I was like, destroying the gun is the same as killing myself. And I can't take the chance that my daughter or son is out there somewhere without me. I just couldn't take the chance. I couldn't give up in that way. I'm so glad you destroyed that gun.
I am too. I feel bad because I wanted to use it.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and I'm real happy about that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you didn't either. You're a better person than I am, Jeff Stormer, apparently.
Well, that's game.
Gosh.
How you feeling? Do you need to debrief? Feeling all right? Dang.
Yeah. Do you need to debrief? Because you just found out I would shoot you.
I figured that'd be the case. I figured as much.
In a desperate situation.
I figured that.
The whole game, I'm going into this game, but I'm not shooting Jeff. Let's go into this game. Let's play this game. But I mean, seriously, I'm not shooting anyone.
And then when that moment comes, it's like.
But then, we were chatting about family. He's asking about family. You asked me about family and that kind of stuff, and then I brought up my daughter and my son and my wife, and I'm like, if Megan got them out, because Megan is tenacious and not squeamish, and she could have gotten them out of there. And if she had gotten them out of there and gotten to some of our friends, because all good geeks, we have a zombie apocalypse plan.
Sure.
That includes a former Marine sniper friend of ours. If she had gotten the kids there, then I couldn't give up on any of them. And so what I would have done in real life is checked you over medically and made sure that you weren't bitten, and then we'll keep an eye on you. But Dan made a game where I couldn't make that choice.
Yeah, oh man.
So Dan, you're a monster.
What a
monster. Oh.
Well,
we knew this was going to be intense.
We knew it was going to be heavy stuff. I really appreciate. God, I like that. God, I really appreciate it. Thank you for suggesting that we do ourselves, because that was. Gosh, I don't know that I would have gotten I don't know if I would have gotten as much bleed out of it, and I don't know if that would have been as satisfying for me if we hadn't done that way.
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted wanted the bleed.
Yeah, I did too.
I don't mind some bleed, because it makes me take a look at some things. I wanted it.
I wanted it real bad, and I'm glad that we did it.
I know, but then I'm like, I have to make this choice. I can't, because what people may or may not have heard, we had to deal the deck twice.
Yeah.
Because the first time we dealt the deck, I had the bite.
Well, we actually dealt it 3 times, because the second time we dealt it, I had the bite.
And because we still had the same deck active, and the second time we dealt it, I didn't have the bite. I figured the odds were high that Jeff had the bite. And I think maybe that started to plant the seed of, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to shoot Jeff. But then I realized, well, I mean, because there's still a chance that he wasn't bit, but it was a pretty low chance.
Yeah, and then the odds of us neither of us being bitten are real low, and I'm glad that it worked out that case ended up being the case.
Yeah, and you reshuffled it and dealt it again, and then I didn't have the bite again, and I think that planted the seed in my head, like, he has got to have the bite. He has to have the bite, because I had this, I'm like, he's got to have the bite, and if he has the bite, that's what led me to go, like, look, what I want to do is destroy the gun. What I expected to do was destroy the gun. But if I was that convinced that you had the bite, I couldn't abandon my family.
Well, I wanted to.
That is just...
When we got low in cards, I was like, I need to shoot him. Like, I don't know how to grill somebody in whether or not they've been bitten. Like, I don't know how to do this, and I can't take the chance. So I sat there looking at that gun card for a long time, and then was just like, I honestly can't do it. And so I threw it away, because I really can't kill myself for a lot of reasons. Oh, gosh. Well, let's breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Whew. That's an intense game. I really enjoyed it. Gosh, that was good. Rich, thank you for coming on Party of One.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I had to kill you.
Or I didn't. I lived. We both lived. It's all good.
I think what's going to happen is actually I'm going to live with that guilt that was the choice I was finding myself having to make or wanting or going to make, and then I find out, like, you know, a week later as we're running across the country that you're really not bit, and then we have like the episode where I break down and tell you that I was going to go against every moral fiber of my entire life and would have shot you. Oh man, that would have been a great episode.
That would have been a great moment, yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of got that right at the very end, but, like, yeah, that would have been a hell of a moment.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. I don't want to be in that show.
No, I don't. I don't one bit. Well, so before we wrap up, why don't you tell people where they can find you online, tell people where they can find Whelmed online, tell people where they can find your work in general online.
Yeah, thanks. So you can get a hold of me on Twitter, either at Umbral Walker, UMBRALWALKER. You can also get a hold of me and the Whelmed podcast at the YJ Files. At the YJ Files. We have a Facebook group for that as well, www.facebook.com/crashingthemode. And then we have our main website for the podcast as well, which is also www.crashingthemode.com.
Hey, future me here. Turns out Rich's audio cut us out a few seconds early, so I wanted to tag in and tell you where else you can find him. You can find his writing at richhowardauthor.com. He is also a contributing writer to the role-playing game website Tribality.com. And finally, you can find his Patreon at patreon.com/richhoward, which is where you can support him making RPG and board game content. Alright. Rich, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was an amazing experience. I'm going to throw it over to me in the future, who is alive, so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. And cut. I'm going to stop my recording in Audacity. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Rich for coming onto the show. Rich, I formally forgive you for trying to kill me. You are forgiven. Be sure to check out Whelmed: The Young Justice Files. It's amazing. It is such a labor of love. The passion and the research is so evident in it, and I can tell you that there are some huge things coming, especially as Young Justice has been renewed for a 3rd season. I am so excited for Whelmed. I am so excited for Young Justice. I cannot wait. It is a really exciting time, and I'm so excited for Rich to be a part of it. Also, be sure to check out Rich's work on Tribality. Check out richhowardauthor.com. Follow Rich on Twitter at UmbraWalker. You will regret doing none of these things because everything Rich does is amazing, and Rich himself is one of the nicest people that I have ever met. He is so consistently enthusiastic, and you're just... Rich, I'm gonna cry talking about how great you are. So thank you so much for being you. Anyway, it would take too long to say on air, but I wanted to thank everybody that I chatted with, played games with, everybody that attended the panels at Metatopia this past weekend. It was an amazing and life-affirming experience that I will never forget. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being a part of it. As always, you can find Party of One on Twitter at PartyOfOnePod, then hop over to Facebook and like the show at facebook.com/PartyOfOnePodcast. If you want to hear more from me, you can also check out All My Fantasy Children, the podcast where Aaron Catano and I create a role-playing game character based on your listener prompts every single week. This week, we are delving into the shared universal lore of our fantasy children. It's really interesting and sweeping and epic, and a little bit romantic and tragic, too. I think that you're gonna love it. You can find that at soundcloud.com/allmyfantasychildren, or on Twitter at AMFC_podcast. Finally, if you really enjoy the show, consider backing us on Patreon at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. You'll get some neat rewards, like access to the GM's Notebook, which is where you can find bonus material, outtakes, D&D monsters, and more. Access to the Vault of Lost Episodes, rough cuts of upcoming episodes, and more. You can also consider telling a friend. Social media shoutouts, iTunes reviews, and word-of-mouth recommendations mean a tremendous amount in helping the show grow and prosper. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. Until next time, thank you so much for listening, and party on, party people.